we're just gonna start over for the people who came late. Basically, for this workshop, we're gonna talk about HTML, and on the agenda, I hope you have looked into it. And basically, we're gonna talk about introductory HTML, standards, structures, some useful HTML tags, how editing your HTML file, and debugging HTML, some special characters. At the end, we'll do some exercise. And if you finish really fast, because I'm pretty confident we're going to finish this really fast, as most of you have experience with HTML file, through your job line experience. Or maybe some of you. And if you finish fast, we can talk about some CSS, which is basically the style attribute for all the all the HTML tags.
Next slide.
So next slide, introduction. HTML stands for a hypertext markup language. As its literal meaning, we know that it's not actually a programming language. It's just a markup language used to express the data that contains within the file. And sometimes just simply refer to as web pages, because it's like most websites most websites on the internet is mostly made in HTML. Well, I'm pretty sure most of them made in like dynamic HTML now. But when they reach your site, it's just pure HTML. And we're not gonna worry too much about ASP.
CGI. CGI.
Fuck CGI.
No.
By the way, beep that part.
Yeah. Try to keep that down to where we can actually place these anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so next slide, please. For standards, HTML has a lot of standards back in the day, cause Microsoft and Netscape had a lot of competition with each other, and even though we still have like WCC organization to make a standard, there's still a lot of variation. But at the end, they finally came up with some standards that accepted by most people, and it's continuing until now. And some of them is HTML 4.01, which is HTML4. Of course, the next one is HTML5. Does it ring a bell? Yes. And also we have XHTML, which stands for XML, formatted HTML, which we're going to talk about difference later, but right now I want to talk about what's the difference between strict transitional and also frame set HTML. So for strict HTML, we basically with the file, like with the browser interpreted, it's not going to care about some decoration tags such as font tag. So you're going to have your own customized font tag if you use a strict HTML. However, if you use transitional HTML, it allows such use. So you can make your own customized fancy font, and also probably some font you purchased from some design company, or from Apple, Helvetica, which is the most famous font on Mac, I think. I think it's also the default font. And also, so now we're going to look at XML. So as I said, it's basically HTML, but put another restriction of XML on top of it. So before, HTML you could actually put an open tag in like HTML open tag, but you don't have to enclose it. So which means you can start with a tag, which is a link tag. Usually we can say it's a link tag, and don't have to close it. So you can include all the tags behind it as part of the string, a part of the link. So when you click on it, it will still work. But it's not guaranteed to work, because sometimes you probably have some extra strings in the back, and then you will actually messed up the layout, the format, etc. And then later, like the browser maker, should I say maker, or browser
manufacturer,
designer, they just got so tired of this. They're tired of parsing all the improperly enclosed tags. So actually, they made a new standard called XHTML. So which means whenever you open tag, you have to close it, unless the tag is self-closing. I'll talk about it later about self-closing tag. Anyway, that,
So just to clarify, the A tag is not necessarily a link tag, it's the anchor tag.
it's an anchor tag.
Right,
Yeah,
so
but most people use it at
Most
the
people use it for link, but you could use it for something like calling functions or something like that. So
Yeah, of course. But I'm not gonna talk about JavaScript really late, so I'm not gonna worry about it later. Don't worry about it later. So next slide.
So we're on slide 5 now.
Actually, you can basically see if like I'm on one slide next, you see just see one color on the next slide. That's probably me, and you can just follow me right away. And we have some examples here. So basically, the example is the dog type for transitional, for transitional XHTML 1.1. As you can see, it's really tedious and long. And also you need to see public, and you also need to include like the language, which is EN, right after 1.1. So basically this is just like a namespace that's used by HTML and also interpreted by the browser in order to parse or render your HTML file properly. It looks really tedious, and also a lot of websites, such as Google, this is about like 5 bytes of information. If we have like trillions, billions of people viewing Google's website every day, they're gonna waste a lot of bandwidth just on this. So just think about it. A few billions times 5, that's a lot of bandwidth, and they're gonna pay for it. So later, HTML came out. HTML5 came out. It's a new standard. It's still experimental. But the good thing is you don't need to specify public and all those namespaces anymore. Just doc type HTML. So much simpler. And we're gonna talk about some structure of the standard talk.
Next slide.
Next slide. Say next slide anyways for the people who are watching the video afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the structure, so nowadays in the sense for HTML, because most people code in HTML now. So basically HTML is just XHTML. So it's just like XML. In case you guys I forgot what XML stands for. But anyway, XML is just like a file which is basically a tree structure file.
It's called extensible markup language.
Okay. So it's still markup language, but it's
extensible.
Okay. If you, I was just wondering, how many of you guys have some experience with XML already? So you and nobody else.
Oh, we had to, so ignore me.
So okay, I'll just talk about a little bit about XML then. So for XML, since you guys already know about the tags in HTML, so we use the same thing in XML with tags and also attribute. So, but the difference is that for HTML, they already have a lot of predefined tags, and in order for the browser to parse it and render it, right? But for XML, it's literally a document type, a file type, should I say? A file type that's used to transfer data instead of make it easier for the browser to parse it and render it. So you can make any tags with any name and with any attribute. It's just a way to mark up the data. So such as when you're trying to send an email, even nowadays, when you send an email, a lot of email providers, they still use XML as a basic format for HTML when they send it out, and then just basically encrypt it and then decrypt it at the end. So basically, you probably can make each opening tag such as an email, and make another tag inside, another opening tag inside called to, or another tag from. Of course, you need to fill in the information for to, for example, Shen Dragon at Gmail, and then of course, and then probably close it with a slash to. And then for from, you also need to specify your own Gmail account or some other email. But still, prefer Gmail, people. Still prefer Gmail.